So we're picking up when we left off in the mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood of the East. We're on chapter 7. We're dealing with Elihu's lessons. A little background on Elihu for ones that have not been following along. Circle 7, Elihu is a hierophant, a high priest. Some will say a magician. And he was given the lessons to Mary, which is Yahshua's mother. So Yahshua's mother can give the lessons to Yahshua. He was mentioned early in the circle 7, right? In that light. So moving forward, fast forwarding to the mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood of the East, Elihu's lessons, the mysteries of Egypt. Again, Elihu taught, right? Again, he said, the Indian priests became corrupt. Brahm was forgotten in the streets. The rights of men were trampled in the dust. So that's the focal point of this chapter. So verse 1. And then a mighty master came, a Buddha of enlightenment, who turned away from the wealth and all honors of the world and found the silence in the graves and caves. And he was bliss. He taught the gospel of higher life and taught men how to honor men. He had no doctrine of the gods to teach. He just knew man. And so his creed was justice, love, and righteousness. I quote, "You a few of many of the helpful words which Buddha spoke. Hate is a cruel word. If man hates you, regard it not, and you can turn the hate of men to love and mercy and goodwill. Mercy is as large as all the heavens." So notice we're dealing with Buddha. And we're dealing with Yahshua and Yahshua's teacher. And we're dealing with Buddha. So it's not a separate thing, not a separate religion. Let that sink in. And there is good enough for all. With good, destroy the bad. With generous deeds, make avarice ashamed. Avarice, just if you look up avarice, is extreme greed for wealth or material gain. So if generous deeds make avarice ashamed. With truth, make straight the crooked lines that errors draw. For error is but truth, distorted, gone astray. And pain will follow him who speaks or acts with evil thought, as does the wheel, the foot of him who draws the cart. He is the greater man who conquers self than who kills 1,000 men in war. So he is the greater man when he conquers himself compared to one that killed 1,000 men. So that if you put that on a scale of who's greater, one who conquers the self is greater than someone that just merely kills 1,000 men at war. Come obey Islam.
Islam, brother, what's good? Islam, Morris, how y'all feeling?
Islam.
So number 9, he is the noble man who is himself what he believes that other man should be. Return to him who does not, who return to him who does you wrong, your purest love, and he will cease from doing wrong. For love will purify the heart of him who is beloved, as truly as it purifies the heart of him who loves. The words of Buddha are recorded in the Indian sacred books. Attendeth them, for they are part of the instructions of the holy breath. Buddha. The land of Egypt is the land of secret things. The mysteries of the sages lie locked bound in our temples and shrines. The masters of all times and climes come here to learn. And when your sons have grown to manhood, they will finish all their studies in Egyptian schools. But I have said enough. Tomorrow at the rising of the sun, we meet again. We got Buddha, Yahshua, Egyptian schools. You know what I mean? We got Elihu, taught Mary, who taught Yahshua. Buddha of enlightenment. So far, because we know we've went through the Circle Seven. Now we're in, some will say, the sequel to the Circle Seven, the Mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood of the East. And now we're seeing this Buddha talk. But prior, we were talking rabbi, right? Like, you know, Yahshua was a Jew. He's referred to as Rabboni or Rabbi. Now we're hearing Buddha, that he's prescribing to the Buddha of enlightenment as a way of life. So to me, I would draw a conclusion like that's the same. The origin of both lifestyles is the same principles. But I want to open the floor in this chapter before we transition to astral diagnosis, is to hear some thoughts on what stood out.
One that stood out to me is he is the greater man who conquers self than one who kills 1,000 men. And that's tied in with the whole astro diagnosis stuff. When you know yourself, you know how to move, you know how to stay out of situations that you shouldn't be in, and stuff won't affect you as much. And then another one for me is tomorrow at the rising of the sun, we meet again. Basically, every day, every night we go to sleep, we transform, we wake up. It's like a rebirth process every day. So don't hinder if you didn't do something. Don't get stuck on it. So like tomorrow is a new day to basically show up for the occasion and do what it is that you think you missed, or just prepare in a different way. I know I said that all mumble jumbled, but my thoughts and stuff have been like flowing in very, very fast. So my shit been scattered. So yeah, I'm gonna apologize.
Oh no, he was flowing. It was flowing to me. But yeah, I feel you though. I definitely feel you.
Yep, perfectly said.
Anybody else had any thoughts? Quasicoto Islam.
Islam.
Yeah, Islam. A couple of them stood out. This chapter is pretty fire. Number 2 and 3 at the top. 2, 3, and 5. Those three kind of go together. I guess you could say 4 also, but that he taught the gospel of higher life and taught men how to honor man. So that's like Islam right there again, because it's probably teaching them how to master themselves, and then more codes on it just like that you don't. This comes from the what do you call the code? The Akashic Records or Dinka Code. He didn't need a doctrine, a school system. It was in his DNA, right? Basically, is what they're saying. To know what's right and wrong, moral, just, righteous, and basically he honed that with all the teaching, but that was already him.
Right.
And basically he's saying he comes from a place of love, and that's the only cure for everything, but especially the antagonist hate.
Yeah. How to dissipate it. You know, you kill off that energy with that love vibration.
And every time I hear something like this, it reminds me of when you told us about one person in the love vibration is worth. I can't remember the number, but it was way in favor of love taking up. So one person could basically change the vibration of 1,000 people, something like that, versus hate only changing 1 or 2 people at a time, you know. So it just shows you how much more energy you're given when you tap into that system or that vibration versus the others.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's like a reoccurring thing.
Yeah. Yep.
Anybody else had any thoughts on this chapter? All right. I'm gonna transition to astro diagnosis. We're dealing with renal circulation. When you look up renal circulation, you're gonna see supplies the blood to the kidneys via the renal arteries, right? And you know, y'all can look that up. Y'all might get another definition, not something completely different, but you might different verbiage or whatever. But essentially, that's what we're dealing with. And we're still in the kidneys. So we're dealing with a female born March 24th, 1845, 5:06 a.m. In judging the case presented in this horoscope, our first care, as usual, is to find out what sort of mental quality this person has. For always, we must remember that the mind is the maker of the body. Therefore, the wisest doctors now use harmless pills and helpful suggestions. Mercury and the moon, the 2 particular significators in respect to mind, are in opposition. The moon is also in opposition to the sun, Jupiter, Mercury, and Uranus. Mars is square to the sun, moon, Jupiter, Mercury, and Uranus. Thus, the person is extremely erratic, facilitating and torn between different purposes. Therefore, or there is only one redeeming feature, namely Saturn trine the moon in sextile Jupiter. Where it is not for these aspects which steady the mind, the native will likely have gone insane. Take now, in conjunction with the foregoing remarks, the fact that 4 common signs or mutable signs are on the angles, and you will understand that she is extremely difficult to handle mentally. She is one of those unfortunate weaklings afflicted with a wishbone instead of a backbone. The sun square Mars makes her impulsive. Also, the adverse aspects from cardinal signs give a certain surplus energy, which manifests as impulse. but she lacks the persistence to carry out her impetuous designs. The affliction of Jupiter indicates faulty circulation. So the affliction of Jupiter is dealing with faulty circulation. And naturally, we judge the presence of Saturn in Aquarius as an indication of obstruction in that place. Remember Saturn, dealing with, remember, if y'all been following the theme, Saturn, whatever is liquid, or it's going to dry it up. So it will make sense. Obstruct Saturn and Aquarius, dealing with the water, is going to obstruct that water. That popped out for me. For the disease to which the human body is air are found in the weakest spot, and Saturn usually marks this. Aquarius governs the lower limbs, and the presence of Saturn there shows us that the obstruction of the circulation is at work in that region. Moreover, Mars has progressed to the conjunction of Saturn in Aquarius, and both in the 12th house, the house which indicates confinement. Therefore, we may judge that the person is afflicted with a severe case of impeded circulation, and it is no surprise to learn that her legs are numb and cold, that she cannot use them properly, and that she is confined to her bed on that account. And that's interesting because most Pisces are cold, and that could be a circulation situation. That's very interesting right there. The moon in Libra, which rules the kidneys, and her opposition to Jupiter shows that the renal circulation is out of order. So once again, if we're saying renal circulation is out of order, we're saying blood supply to the kidney is out of order. That's what we're saying.
I'm not sure if it's a Pisces.
You don't think so?
What is the date? The end of March.
Let's see. Up here it said,
Might be Aries.
oh, okay, 12th house. That's why my mind went there. Because 12th house is Pisces, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 12th house, the house which indicates confinement. Therefore, we may judge that the person is afflicted with a severe case of impeded circulation. And it is no surprise to learn that her legs are numb and cold. So I just kind of tied it together with 12th house, numb and cold, based on the circulation issue. And that's
Okay, so this, I'm sorry to cut you off, but this is like personal for me because I'm a Pisces moon. And a lot of times when my legs and my feet get cold, they go numb. And when I was very, very small, like I used to always have cold, clammy feet. Like, and I would be like regular temperature, but my feet will always be cold and clammy. And then when you look at Pisces, Pisces has to do with water sign, water and emotions. And then looking at the chart, I see most of the energy was focused in her first house. Like that's where majority of the placements of the planets and everything is. And the first house has to deal with I am and that's self. So it says something about her being impulsive and all that. That's because she got all that energy in her first house. And if you don't balance it, like that causes personality disorders and it fucks up circulation and all kind of other shit.
right. Yeah, yeah, keep giving y'all thoughts. I guess my mom didn't get the email. I gotta send her an invite.
Yes, I'm cold. know the Pisces is always cold. Might be something to it.
I definitely want to look into that because that whole about the numbing of the legs and stuff, I have experienced that, and I really want to know, like, damn, where does that come from?
But our cell salt, Pisces cell salt, the iron, which is strange. But
And I have anemia, so it makes sense. Okay, I need to get back on my nutrition shit.
yeah, because I always think that like, okay, if I have iron, I'm a Pisces. If I have iron, but it also says like, whatever sign you are, you use it up the most. So you'll use it up the quickest. So if I'm Pisces and it's iron, then I use mostly iron. The quicker,
Okay.
the most. Because I was like, I'm always cold, so I don't know how I represent iron.
No, you're always cold because your body is lacking iron, so you need to up your intake. But I used to not really like to take my iron because in the back end it would make me constipated. Like, so then you have to do something else to counteract that. Like, and I just felt like it was a lot. So, but I understand it.
Magnesium is what kicks in for to
The
help with that.
constipation.
Yeah, and it's the gateway. It opens up the gate for all the other minerals to get into the cell wall. So if you don't have enough magnesium, you're not even getting all the iron you want, but you're on the right track with the cell salts. That's the only, there's no use for vitamins, only minerals.
Right.
Islam.
Yeah, I feel like when you take iron from like the hospital, like the synthetic stuff, I could be wrong, but I feel like that's what causes constipation more than like if you get it from plants and tea and stuff like that.
And yeah, that's what I was taking pills. They have prescribed me pills that I have to take a certain amount of times a day. And then I've actually heard that when you cook with cast iron skillets, that is the way to put the iron in your food. So I need to invest in that too. Like,
Yeah, but he's right. You want the water soluble plant version more than even the iron pan version. So
yeah.
The sarsaparilla also, as far as tea, is very high in iron, so that you can jump on that too.
You said tea?
Sarsaparilla, yeah.
I'll have some of that. I was sneaking that into my food every now and then.
Load up on it. That's the iron for you.
All right. Let me see. Yeah, I sent my mom the invite. She should be getting on. Ali Khan, Islam.
Islam, Morris.
Islam.
So, okay, here she goes. Let her get up in here. But so now you see where I was at when I made the correlation of the code with the 12th house being Pisces, but it's looking like this is based on a circulation issue. Islam, Anona.
Islam, everybody.
Islam.
Islam.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Basically, you see how we diagnose them though, that's the most important thing, how we in doctor mode right now. All right, so let me finish this. I only got like maybe a page and a half left. So the moon in Libra, which rules the kidneys, and her opposition to Jupiter shows the renal circulation. And once again, that's the theme of this chapter, renal circulation. When we hear renal circulation, we're dealing with blood supply to the kidneys via the arteries or the renal arteries. So which rules the kidneys, and her opposition to Jupiter shows that the renal circulation is out of order, right? The blood flow to the kidneys is out of order. In the presence of so many planets in Aries, which governs the head, that's what Phoenix was just saying, basically, is a sure indication that there is a riot of conflicting forces there. Thus, because the afflictions of these planets, we have a case of sleeplessness, extreme nervousness, and irritability given by Uranus. The blood runs riot in the upper part of the body, and there is too little in the lower. As that native or patient is well along in years, there is not much to build upon, but an effort should nevertheless be made to stimulate the kidneys. The secretion of urine is often totally stopped by the opposition of Uranus, Mercury, and Jupiter to the moon in Libra. So the opposite, okay, so there we have it. Opposition to Uranus, Mercury, and Jupiter to the moon in Libra causes a stop secretion of urine or a blockage. This leaves deposits of poison in the system. And as long as there are not eliminated, as long as these are not eliminated, the person will be weighed down by a heavy and sluggish feeling, which makes the body seem as if it were made of lead. Great care should be taken to soothe and calm this woman, as every bit of anger or irritability makes elimination more difficult and causes more poison to collect in the system. So her anger and irritability cause more poison to collect in her system. A healer who has Scorpio rising and who does not have Saturn in Aquarius, Pisces, or Leo would have a beneficial effect. That chapter was heavy right there. Let's open the floor and I have a little discussion about this chapter, man. Let's take a visual of the patient's chart as we have the discussion. Any thoughts on this chapter? Anything that stood out? Any highlights? And I'm looking at that cluster you were talking about right here. I'm assuming Phoenix.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. That definitely caught my attention. And then you have a whole lot of empty houses, like with no energy flowing through them. Well, of course, there's energy there, but it's not like how it is in the first house. And then the opposite side is moon energy, which has to do with the moon is intuition, emotions. Yeah, that's like, I look at that as somebody who will have like multiple personalities almost, because there's so much different energies flowing in that one house. And the Aries house is the head, I am. So it would be very confusing if you did not know how these energies affect you. And like I said, that caused the whole impulsiveness and all of that other thing, the other things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then this makes me think, like, does something about the flow of the emotions have something to do with the circulation too? Like, but I'm not exactly sure how it ties together, but in my brain it's telling me I need to put those two together.
I'll say that again.
So like your emotional flow, the way your emotions flow, it has to do something with the circulation in your body. My brain keeps telling me this, but I'm not exactly sure how to put it together. So I'm more than likely go get my puzzle pieces in a couple of days as to why this makes sense. That's how shit been working out.
I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. Like, your body is mostly water, so if
Yeah,
it ain't circulating right, then it ain't flowing correctly.
exactly. And that causes the coldness, the clamminess, the impulsiveness, all that, because you're not in control of your emotions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that just answered it right there.
Some of them answers be coming fast. Sometimes it take a couple of days, but damn, my alignment like a motherfucker.
Yeah, you didn't need them couple of days. It was just a
I
couple of
didn't at
seconds.
all. That's why it's good to have a group of like-minded people to talk to. Somebody be holding your answer and you don't even know it.
Yeah, man. There you have it. Now it could be like somebody that's irritable. Oh man, he got bad circulation. You know what I mean? But it's gonna get to that point, like just intuitively, once we just download this information and repetitively kind of go over the astral diagnosis, kind of where stuff stem from.
And that's crazy how you guys just brought that up, because I was reading another article somewhere and it said the Maya used to what's it called? Correspond health with being balanced. So if you were in good health, you were balanced, and any other type of ailment is because you were out of balance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why we had the sound healing sensors. They use a lot of sound, whether it's vocal or crystals or certain rocks that make sounds. They would different rooms with different keys, and whichever one you need to tune up to. Or in some cases, they said that people had like an Ankh device that was tuned to you. So
yeah, I think I seen I was just talking to somebody about that. It says somewhere that what is it called? That ancient Asian or Chinese glyph, I guess. It was like only two or three little. It basically was the same glyph as medicine and music. Just it was off by like 2 or 3 little bars or dots.
I believe it.
Did you mention something about an Ankh?
Yeah.
Ross Leon? What did you say? I didn't hear you.
So I heard something like they used to have this Ankh. It was 2 pieces that connected together, the top and I guess the same principle. But it tuned to each person for multiple reasons, but one, it was to tune your frequency. The other reason was for traveling through Stargate.
So I've seen a lot of Egyptian pictures where, if you notice, the people are holding unks in their hands. So you said that. I thought that's what I heard, but I wasn't sure. But yeah, that's definitely like significant. We need to be creating our own unks and carrying them on us all the time. And I just drew a picture of an unk today. Doing my shadow work, I draw out different stuff related to tarot cards. And this day, it just happened to be the death card. And for whatever reason, I wanted to transform how we regularly see death. So I made it life, and I drew the unk and I put the wings on it, and I aligned the chakras down the middle. So yeah, all of this is definitely in alignment. It's some big shit about to happen in the universe. Buckle y'all motherfucking seatbelts.
We on the countdown to a spiritual. It's gonna be a 7-year. So everybody.
Well, yeah, that 7th year, and it's crazy because my personal year, I've been in the 7 already. So going into the next year, I'm going to be in 8. So I had a preview already of what the collective is going to experience. And yeah, it's going to be, if you didn't do your shadow work, you're not going to have fun in 2023, period. Like,
lessons.
For real. That karma coming to hit fucking hard. Like, I hope everybody ready. That's all I can say. Shit.
we all obviously putting in the work because we here. So most of
Right.
us are here.
Yeah.